You wake up on a Monday already tired. Not physically tired, financially tired. Before you've even checked your phone, you already know what the numbers are going to say. You're not broke, but you're not ahead either. You're working, you're showing up, you're doing what you're supposed to do. And yet, every year feels strangely similar to the last one. Same stress, same pressure, same feeling that no matter how much effort you put in, something just isn't clicking. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. And here's the uncomfortable truth most people never hear. The real reason you can't get ahead financially has very little to do with how hard you work. My name is Linda, and I spend way too much time thinking about the real reason you can't get ahead financially. If you're someone who still struggles financially or want to grow your finances, make sure to hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if this helps you out. Now look, this is not going to be another video where someone tells you to grind harder, wake up earlier, or get a second job. Because here's the thing. Most people who are struggling financially are already working hard. They're busy, they're exhausted, they're trying. So if effort alone were enough, most people would already be ahead, but they're not. Here's what most people don't realize. Being stuck financially isn't usually caused by one big mistake. It's caused by a system you're trapped inside, combined with a mindset you were never taught to question. And that combination is incredibly powerful. Let's start with the system. Most people are operating inside what I call the survival loop. You earn money, you pay bills, you recover just enough to keep going, and then you repeat. There's no margin, no breathing room, no real momentum. And because you're constantly focused on getting through the next month, you never get the chance to step back and ask a much more important question. Is this actually taking me where I want to go? Now, you might be thinking, okay, but that's just life. Everyone deals with bills. Yes, but not everyone stays stuck. The difference isn't discipline, it's direction. Here's a simple but uncomfortable example. Let's say you earn £2,500 per month after tax. Your rent is £1,000, utilities and phone are £250, transport is £200, food is £350, subscriptions and random spending are another £200. That leaves you with about £500. On paper, that's not terrible. You should be able to move forward with that. But here's what actually happens. That £500 becomes your emotional buffer. It's what makes life feel tolerable. Bad day at work? Spend a little. Stressful week? Treat yourself. Feeling behind compared to others? Upgrade something. And slowly, without realizing it, that £500 disappears every month. You're not irresponsible, you're coping. And this is where psychology matters more than math. Your brain doesn't want wealth, it wants relief. Wealth is abstract, relief is immediate. So when money shows up, your brain uses it to make today feel better, not tomorrow safer. This is the real reason most people never get ahead. They are constantly trading long-term progress for short-term emotional comfort. And the worst part is, it feels completely reasonable while it's happening. Here's what most people don't realize. Every time you use money to reduce stress instead of build stability, you reinforce a pattern. Your brain learns that money equals relief. So the next time you feel stressed, tired, or discouraged, your brain reaches for the same solution. Spend a little, feel better, worry later. This is not a character flaw. This is conditioning. Now, let's talk about income, because this is where a lot of people get stuck mentally. Most people believe the reason they can't get ahead is because they don't earn enough. And look, income matters. Of course it does. But here's what the data consistently shows. In both the UK and the US, a significant percentage of people earning above the median income still report living paycheck to paycheck. That means the problem doesn't disappear when income increases, it just changes shape. Higher income often leads to higher expectations, higher lifestyle costs, and higher pressure to maintain appearances. Same stress, bigger numbers. This is where it gets really interesting. If earning more were the real solution, raises would fix financial anxiety permanently, but they don't. Studies show that most people adapt to higher income within 6 to 12 months. Their spending rises, their stress returns, their progress stalls again. So, if effort and income aren't the real issue, what is? The real issue is that most people never shift from survival thinking to ownership thinking. Survival thinking says, how do I get through this month? Ownership thinking asks, how do I build something that makes next month easier? One keeps you busy, the other creates momentum. Now, you might be thinking, that sounds nice, but I don't have extra money to think like that. And that thought right there is part of the problem, because ownership thinking doesn't start with large amounts of money, it starts with prioritization. Let's talk about saving, because this is where things usually break down. Most people save whatever is left at the end of the month, and most months, there's nothing left. So they conclude that saving just isn't realistic for them. But here's what most people don't realize. Saving last is a guarantee that saving won't happen, because spending expands to fill whatever space you give it. People who get ahead financially don't save because they're disciplined. They save because they reverse the order. They decide what future stability is worth to them and protect it first, even if it's uncomfortable, even if it feels pointless at first, and that small shift changes everything. Here's a simple example. Saving £50 per month won't change your life financially in the short term, but psychologically, it does something powerful. It tells your brain that the future matters, and once your brain accepts that idea, behavior starts to change naturally. Identity follows action. You stop seeing yourself as someone who just survives. You start seeing yourself as someone who builds. That identity shift is what allows people to get ahead, even on average incomes. Now, let's address another common objection. I'll start once I feel more stable. The problem is, stability rarely comes before action. It usually comes after. Waiting to feel ready keeps people stuck for years. There is always another expense, another responsibility, another reason to delay. That's how the survival loop protects itself. Here's a short story that explains this perfectly. I once spoke to someone who had been financially stuck for nearly a decade. Same job, same stress, same frustration. They believed their issue was income. Then they got a raise, and nothing changed. What finally broke the cycle wasn't more money, it was structure. They automated a small amount of money out of their account the day they got paid. Not a dramatic amount, just enough to notice. At first, it felt uncomfortable, but then something surprising happened. Their spending adjusted. Their brain stopped relying on that money for relief because it wasn't available anymore. That's when progress finally began. Here's what most people don't realize. You don't get ahead financially by trying harder. You get ahead by making fewer emotional decisions. And the easiest way to do that is to remove choice from the equation. Automation beats motivation every time. Now, let's talk about comparison, because this quietly destroys progress for a lot of people. We live in a world where everyone's spending is visible, but their stress isn't. You see the trips, the cars, the upgrades. You don't see the debt, the anxiety, the pressure. So you feel behind even when you're doing okay, and that feeling pushes you to spend in ways that keep you stuck. Trying to look ahead is one of the fastest ways to fall behind financially. Here's the truth. Most people you're comparing yourself to aren't ahead. They're just louder. Real progress is quiet. Now, let's bring this together. The real reason you can't get ahead financially isn't lack of intelligence, it's not laziness, it's not even income most of the time. It's that you're stuck in a system and mindset that prioritizes short-term relief over long-term control. and unless that changes, nothing else will. Here's what you can do starting now. First, stop asking how to make more money and start asking how to keep more of what you already earn. Second, pay yourself first, even if it's uncomfortable. Third, reduce the number of financial decisions you make under stress. Automate where possible. Fourth, measure progress, not perfection. Even slow movement forward is better than standing still. Here's the most important thing to understand. Getting ahead financially isn't about becoming a different person. It's about stopping one pattern and letting the momentum build. You don't need to overhaul your life. You need to stop letting survival mode dictate every decision. Financial freedom isn't about luxury. It's about not feeling trapped. If this video helped you see your situation more clearly, hit the like button so more people can hear this message. Subscribe if you want more psychology-based financial education that explains why money feels so hard and what to do about it. The real reason you can't get ahead financially isn't effort. It's the loop you were never taught to escape, and now that you see it, you don't have to stay in it.